What's going on, and welcome back to another less than 5 minute gear review. And in this video we're going to be going over one of the older tactical Tailor admin pouches. Now if you can find one of these at a surplus store or on TaxSwap where you can buy and sell and trade a bunch of gear and equipment, I would highly recommend it. The newer version of this is the Fight Light Admin Pouch Enhanced. It's going to run you roughly around 65 to 70 bucks. Whether you get the old or the new, I highly recommend both. They're a phenomenal product. Tailor always does a good job with everything that they build. This is actually a buddy of mine's. He let me borrow it for a review. I used to have one of these a long time ago. I only very briefly mounted it on my plate carrier. I was just always finding that I had issues drawing mags and it was getting in the way of being able to pull those mags out. And I stopped running admin pouches on the front of my plate carrier due to that. Historically, with a lot of the guys that I've worked with in the past, from infantry all the way up into SOF, a lot of people who run admin pouches up top on the front of their plate carrier have that issue. So it's always my recommendation, pull that admin pouch off. Throw something either more streamlined and low profile up there if you want an admin pouch, or figure something else out so that way this doesn't get in the way. I know a couple of guys have migrated these more to the front of their magazines so that way they still have that admin capability, but it's just been relocated and out of the way of drawing those mags. So whatever course of action that you choose, by all means take all that information and choose what's going to work best for you. I actually ended up migrating this over to a vehicle setup so that way I had the ability to maintain situational awareness, add and help with routes and navigating and planning and all of that stuff. So it is an option when it comes down to it. So highly recommend it when it comes to it. When it comes to the actual setup of this thing, it's real simple. You got 4x4 MOLLE up front. The Fight Light version actually just has a solid section of MOLLE through the, or solid section of Velcro through the front here. And then they have the top row of MOLLE on, and then the bottom row of MOLLE as well. So you have a little bit different setup, but it still does pretty much the exact same thing. But this being the old one, you do have a little bit more to play around with. The MOLLE loops and everything do have that Velcro, so you can add patches, placards, call signs, stuff, identification, and all of that. So real nice up front. On the bottom, you do have these elastic loops. Actually, one of the few things, and I actually have a push-to-talk right here next to me. I have seen a couple of guys run push-to-talks through the loops here. Or tourniquets, but with these push-to-talks, what you can do is you can run that through one side. This will go over your shoulder, through your cummerbund, or just you'll have a shorter cable and it'll plug right into your radio if you want to front load your radio. And then you take this other side, pass it through this other loop, or take your Tailor cable and then pass that through, connect everything, and then just kind of neatly tuck everything away. And that way your push-to-talk is just sitting up front right there. It's not stuck on either side. You can actuate it with either hand and be able to communicate with a little bit more ease and not worry about your radio, or not your rifle, I should say, interfering with your radio parts and components and accidentally actuating that switch when you're trying to shoulder your rifle. So you have some options there when it comes down to it. When it comes to the backside, it's pretty simple and straightforward. You just have the MOLLE on the backside here. So you have 4 rows of MOLLE, and then you have the ability to run different types of malice clips or other clips. So that's an option. I prefer running the whiskey what the fuck strips, or WTF strips. Awesome system, makes everything nice and tight when it comes down to it. So you have some options with MOLLE attachment on the back here. When it comes to the interior, you have couple of different options when it comes to pockets and loops and what you can stuff in here. This typically comes with a map or a clear map insert, so if you want to run that in here, or if you want to take that out, I would highly recommend running with it, just because you can cut sections of maps and have everything set up and use map markers and all that on there to help with routes and planning and all that, and maintaining situational awareness on mission or doing whatever you have going on. So typically that's in here. He doesn't have it in here right now. You do have one large pocket on this side. You have all of your elastic loops for pens, and then you do have some larger loops of elastic on this side, and then 2 smaller pockets as well. So that way you have the ability to run and stuff whatever you want inside of this guy. I never really carried a whole lot in here. I usually had a small little multi-tool, maybe some small little items and connectors and things for radios, because when I ran this, I was actually an RTO. So there is a lot that you can run in here. Just keep it small, try and keep it as streamlined and low profile as possible, so that way it doesn't get in the way of your mags and everything if you're going to run this on your plate carrier. But and then last but not least, you do have this little bit of a drawstring right here, so you can close this up and keep things nice and tight, and then prevent anything from just completely yard sailing and spilling out of it. So you can adjust all of this and then have this kind of drop down setup and whatnot. So you can run phones in here as well. So if you want to kind of configure or make a small little sleeve or pocket that velcros right here into the bottom, and then you slide your phone in there, you can do that as well. But at that point, I would just recommend just running your phone on your kit in some capacity. So with that, that's really about it. Highly recommend it. When it comes down to it, this is a phenomenal pouch and system. So with that, if you have any questions, please feel free, leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.